Good morning, and let the Monday morning ruckus begin right now. I'm Jay Cleveland Payne. Today is not the 23rd, it's actually the 25th of July. Monday is still what the day is, 2022. I'm going to present for you like 11 stories, a whole lot of stories today that we just really couldn't whittle down. We had over 90 stories throughout the weekend posted for the things you might have heard, the Conversation Project on our feeds. And we had so many that were just really good that we're just going to go through there. It might be close to 15 or so. It's a lot of stories. So we're going to run through them pretty quick, rapid fire style as best as possible. But we're going to get you a whole lot of news to get you started off on your coffee talk on your day. We, as things you might have heard, like to call this thing here your tertiary news source, your news side piece, if you will. These are not all the main stories you got off of CNN, MSNBC, or Fox News over the weekend. Definitely not Newsmax, or Newsmax is still there, not OAN, because it's basically gone. But we will give you this morning lots of great, diverse stories from various different places that you might not even thought you wanted to know about. But guess what? We're going to tell you in just a bit. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Now, just a bit of a caveat. We have a lot of things going on. Number one, it's Monday, so we're on all the different platforms, all my extra platforms today. So say hello from wherever you are so we can make sure you're there. We have just launched the more clean, more pretty, a more beautiful name for our YouTube page. So you can go there and watch it this 5 days a week. We'll talk about that going on in a bit. But we're also in the process of a lot of physical things, a lot of physical move happening in the process right now. So we're going to do our best to keep our commitment to do this every single Monday, every single weekday morning, even on the mornings when it's really hard to get done. And yes, we do know this is definitely a lost loser, lost loser. We're not making big cash for this, but we're going to do our best to keep the commitment to provide for this broadcast, because some people do sort of like it. So with all that any further ado, and all the extra yakety yak, I'll probably do more yakety yak on it later. Let's get into the news stories for this Monday, which are actually the past news stories going from Friday through Sunday to get you started for your coffee talk out in the world. Starting with the first one, Desus and Mero reported reasons for duo surprisingly split revealed. What does this mean for everyone? This is not going to work, so we're going to take that off. So Desus and Mero are let's call them a comedy group. They had a podcast called The Bodega Boys, and they had a TV show on Showtime for being so popular. What happened? The riches of fame in Hollywood basically happened. So their longtime manager, their boy from back in the day, Showtime wasn't so keen on some of the things that he was doing, basically calling him out for what they're calling assholery type behavior, asking him not to show up for meetings, not to show up for tapings, just not be around. Desus decided, you know what, Showtime, you're right, my boy just isn't acting right, we need to cut him off from what's going on. Mero decided, no, this is my boy, we're hanging, we're staying tight. From that, there was the split from what's going on. So it looks like, and as rumors had it, basically Desus was looking to do bigger, better things, and Mero was looking to do more keeping it real type stuff. With that being said, the popular duo from Showtime's Desus and Mero, the Bodega Boys, are apparently no longer doing their shtick anymore. And this is what happens. Great comedy groups, great groups in general, break up for many reasons. Most of them, some sort of riff in talents and personality. One of them wants to stick with the boys. The other one thinks it's time to cut bait and move on. Let's move on from the next story. That's my phone telling me that this thing is live. Paige VanZant reveals exorbitant money she's earning from posting pictures after quitting UFC. Now, Paige VanZant, the MMA fighter, is not quitting fighting. She left UFC after some issues and now is in the bare knuckles league, another fighting championship thing where they don't even wear gloves. But what she says is she has very, very different sources of income. She has her MMA fighting. She actually has a OnlyFans account, which is not what we're talking about here. Where does she make her money? Instagram. Just posting pictures on Instagram, where she has the most followers, is where she's actually making just crazy amounts of money, as opposed to on her fights. And as we usually say, it's the OnlyFans that make things happen. No, it's this time. It's the Instagram and it's the brand sponsoring and stuff like that. It's amazing how something like that works for some people. Of course, nowadays people think, hey, I need to be an Instagram influencer, and that's how I make my money. Still really hard to do. Still have to be a very special and very talented person to make that happen. But for her, VanZant, she's showing that the money right now, and of course it's all backed by her other stuff she does, is in the Instagram. Angelina Jolie wins battle against Brad Pitt in war over French winery. Yeah, this thing's still going on. Now, if you remember many, many years ago, back when Angelique and old Brad were together, they bought a winery and they lived in it and they loved it and they had their kids hanging out there. Then they got divorced. Then Angelina decided she wanted to sell her piece of the winery to someone else. I think it's some big spirits group. And Brad Pitt wanted to stay there because he was working on it and trying to do whatever. And so right now the Jolie camp is asking for some documents from Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt said no. The Jolie camp and the judges said yes. Brad Pitt must turn this over. This is a major battle win for Angelina Jolie. This is not the complete sell and breakup of the assets from the winery, but it may be close. Now, what this means for the war between Jolie and Brad Pitt going forward, at least over the winery, it means that the legal battle is now in favor, at least paper-wise, for Jolie, and looks closer to her getting that full money split from that one. Let's move on to the next story. Two stories, actually. Longtime WWE chairman and CEO Vince McMahon announced his retirement from company amid misconduct allegations, and Paul Triple H Levesque is back as EVP Talent Relations. These two things came together, and these things came out of order as I posted them. So earlier in the day on Friday, they announced that Triple H, Paul Levesque, was back in the saddle as the Executive Vice President of Talent Relations, something he was doing for quite some time, something he was sort of pushed out of a few years ago because of some changes in creativity that essentially the boss, the father-in-law, Vince McMahon, wanted, and something that he definitely stepped away from because he needed to for a while after having some serious health issues and needed to not work for a bit. Trust me, at this point, he doesn't need to work. However, we have all the allegations, all the craziness, all the innuendo of Vince McMahon and him paying off not only one person 20 years ago, but many women over the years for sexual harassment conduct type deals, which, knowing his character and kind of knowing his character, both of those, doesn't seem so far-fetched. But because it's a big deal coming out of the woodwork, and he's, of course, in his 70s anyway, he stepped away as the CEO and stepped away as the actual chairman of WWE and kept the creative work. And then, in a surprise move to most people, just basically called it a day in the middle of the day on Friday. Of course, I learned this after the Triple H news. So it all happened on Friday. Friday evening, SmackDown was opened up by Stephanie McMahon, who was an VP of communications. She has a couple titles. She was gone and she's back now again. And she had a quick thank you, Vince. And then it went, that's how the news got out there that Vince was gone. And then they had a show where basically everything they had planned got wiped out because of all sorts of craziness. Because I'm a SmackDown fan. But this is big news for folks who are following the WWE in either in entertainment or as a business model, because when the CEO goes down, other things go down with it. So there'll be reshuffling, there'll be all sorts of weird things. There's rumors that there may be a reverse buyout where someone may come in and take out the WWE like it took out a WCW and ECW back in the days. We shall see. Pope Francis travels to Canada to apologize to Catholic-run schools' indigenous abuse. Pope Francis is in Canada. Yes, Pope Francis is doing more of a mea culpa tour of Canada, specifically on some Catholic-run schools that brought in indigenous people, native Canadians, if you will, and tried to turn them into white people, white Catholic people, essentially pulling them out of their homelands, taking their kids away, teaching them the ways of Catholic worlds and telling them to shun their old ways. And as many of them actually died from various things, buried them in mass graves on the facilities. Pope Francis is now trying to apologize for the grave, no pun intended, grave indulgences of those times and trying to set the record straight going forward. He apparently is trying to do a very good job. Unfortunately, some things are hard to take. We heard lots of correspondence from people who say it's good to hear the apologies of now, but the acts of the past cannot be undone. And you also hear that in a lot of people who had to go through these things, how the acts of the past cannot be undone. More videos emerged showing apparent racial snubs of children at Sesame Place. And this is going bigger and badder and worser. And And I guess I have to do a quick little mea culpa apologies because I said the character was Zoe. It was actually Rosita. That is the character Rosita that was caught in this thing. So character wise, if that makes a difference. But the person inside of the costume, with the still going with the excuse that costumes are hard to see people up close. The kids are only this tall, and she was waving off someone else trying to hand her baby. More people should, with their video cameras and different angles, are showing what looks like a real snub, which is like a different angle. Like well, maybe she wasn't. They were in line of sight. Maybe they weren't that close. Maybe this was a bigger deal. Why did Rosita wave off the kids? Until someone talks to the person, which I don't think is a good idea, we may never know. So we're going to go deeper into the story as it continues because this is a story that seems like a small little slight, but is flipping back and forth quite a bit. Elon Musk reportedly had an affair with wife of Google co-founder Sergey Brin. Now, this apparently was so bad that Sergey Brin recently had a divorce. This affair happened about a year ago, when he was having artificial insemination with his girlfriend Grimes, and of course having an affair or some sort with some employee, which had a baby at the same time he had a baby with Grimes. So around the same time, he's also messing around with the wife of Sergey Brin, who is apparently one of Musk's oldest friends in the old business of what's going on, and a big time backer in money. In what happened from this thing? Well, number one, Brin divorced his wife because of the issue. There was the old inconsolable differences from that thing. Number two, Brin pulled his money out of a couple backings of Elon Musk's dealings. And now we're finding out the truth about this. This is becoming more of a fact than innuendo. We'll see if someone actually says something to dispute this. We do know Sergey Brin got divorced this year. We do know that Sergey Brin pulled his money off of Elon Musk's projects this year. And we do know there seems to be some sort of rift. That has been kind of basically bantered back and forth once the money started being pulled. Now we may have a reason to know why and what's going on. This is an example, and I'm going to say this at the bottom of my heart and commentary, of, rich, powerful, famous people acting horribly and in some cases getting away with it. Elon Musk is still going to be called a genius, still going to be running his company, still going to be getting people paying him a lot of money for batteries and electric cars. That's going to happen. Whether he's good at his job and whether he's a good person are, yes, two different things. But if he's not a good person, you should also take that into account and, shun him to the point. He's dealing with the fact that he said he was going to buy Twitter, and it looks like that was all just a big old joke at this point, the way it's playing out. This is a case of a person who had way too much power, and all of a sudden he has gets some attention and uses it to his advantage just to be a jerk. That's a problem. Mega Millions jackpot swells to $790 million after no lottery ticket drew all 6 winning numbers. Somebody won like $1 million tickets across the nation. Various pockets of the nation had people pull the $1 million, a nice prize. No one got the Mega Millions jackpot this week, so on coming Tuesday, 790 millions, maybe more by that time. It's Monday. We'll see how many more people get into that one. Almost $1 billion in Mega Millions. Somebody's going to get a ticket and somebody's going to win. Just ain't us. That's how it works out. Steve Bannon found guilty of contempt for defying January 6th committee subpoena. What does this mean for all of us? Pretty much nothing. Steve Bannon's going to do what he's going to do. Now, this is what it means for Steve Bannon. Pulling the cup from the other side today. I told you things are weird. I mean, I used to have a shelf over here and whatever. This thing's just all sort of whatever. Steve Bannon is found guilty in this court. It was a quick case. The prosecution went for a day. Defense went for half a day. They closed. They came to deliberations. They went to the jury. Jury said he's guilty. Now, what this means is this is basically a guaranteed flat out 30 days in jail once sentencing comes out, unless something happens. In this case, Steve Bannon is still going on the I will still testify live if to get out of this thing. We'll see that that's not going to work, not going to work out. So he probably won't testify live. And so we'll see how this plays out. Basically, this is 30 days in jail, period. We'll see what happens at sentencing and if this turns into anything more than the circus that it already is. Animation income disparity highlighted as Steve Carell banks $12.5 million payday for The Rise of Gru. Steve Carell probably deserved $12.5 million for The Rise of Gru as the star of the movie to bring people in to see the fourth movie in the series, actually fifth movie. There wasn't much Gru in Minions, but there's a lot more Gru in Minions 2 for The Rise of Gru. However, there is an issue. All the people who made the movie, because Steve Carell basically showed up and did the voiceover stuff, all the people that did animators are saying they're not getting paid well enough. And if Steve Carell's getting $12.5 million from this, he should be getting a little bit less to make it up more equitable, or they should be getting more from somewhere. And this is something that is seen all over the place in animation, where the voice actors, the famous people that come in, do make good bang because that's what they do. However, the people who actually draw the actual cells are sometimes struggling in some cases to keep things afloat. We'll see how this one plays out going forward. Ticketmaster has forced Bruce Springsteen prices as high as $5,000. Ticketmaster is on all sorts of tear of killing people and killing entertainment as the prices are going up. One, they have to make their money, so there's that argument there. But two, $5,000 for floor side seat at some big time Bruce Springsteen concerts probably aren't exactly the way they're going. These are not, the black market prices, the aftermarket prices, the selling prices on there after they're bought in. This is not the bots buying up the tickets going with it. This is people buying them and Ticketmaster raising the prices partly because of the bots selling the tickets. Basically, the aftermarket stuff is making Ticketmaster raise some of the prices to kill some of the aftermarket market stuff. It's amazing. It's silly. It's commerce. It is kind of what it is. Kinley, North Carolina, to be without full-time police after all officers resign. This is an interesting story. I need you to click on the link in the description to read this story. 4 full-time officers and police chief all resigned last week because they don't like how they're being treated by the new city manager. There are all sorts of crazy emergency meetings happening with the mayor and all the people, the town folks, the city council to figure out what to do. But literally in about a week and a half, or maybe less than that, the town of Kinley, North Carolina, which isn't essentially a large town. It's not like rampant crime is going in the streets and Al Capone stepping in to take over the entire landscape. But it is 4 full-time police officers and a chief, 5 police officers who maintain all sorts of peace or take care of whatever needs to be done for the municipality, and they're all gone. All of them quitting because of the city manager. Now, this may be a problem. Maybe it's not. Maybe they can find 5 more police officers who want to work in Kinley without the issues of the city manager. Maybe the city manager is that much of a problem and needs to be dealt with. This is probably a story that's going to be wiped away because it was a barely thing we popped in, and that was just caught my attention that every police member of the police force quits, and then you read deeper into it, and it's a smaller town. It's only 5 people, but they do have a grievance, and they're not talking about it, which is the key thing. They're just saying they're having issues with the city manager, and we're not going to talk more about it. We put in our 2 weeks a week ago. That's how they're playing it in Kinley. If you're near Kinley, let me know. Let me know what the situation looks like there, because it is an interesting story. It's very interesting, but hard to get a lot of stuff when things like this one. 2 children diagnosed with monkeypox in U.S., officials say. Monkeypox was officially given the clearance to be called a health emergency by the WHO. 2 children have been diagnosed with monkeypox in this nation. It's not overwhelmingly sweeping the nation at the moment. It's not COVID-19 at the moment. It's not anything else at the moment, but it is something that needs to be looked at, dealt with seriously. The Biden administration, and I have many pluses and negatives against the Biden administration altogether, but one of the big knocks I have against this is that I don't have an explanation to monkeypox. What is it? Why is it there? And most of the explanations that are being given are the jokey joke stuff because it sounds funny and on that top, and that's all we're getting. We don't have an explanation of what's going on. We don't have an explanation of what's being done about it. We don't have a real reason to know how this thing's going to go forward. And finally, some fairly good news. Multisport legend Bo Jackson helped pay funeral costs for Uvalde school shooting victims. This is a story that should not go away anytime soon, especially as school starting within about 4 or 5 weeks for most people. The Uvalde school shooting with all the kids and all of the teachers who died in this thing that could have been prevented, could have been lessened, could have been a lot of things in these cases. Bo Jackson stepping up to help pay funeral costs for some of the school shooting victims out there. Thank you, Bo Jackson. Amazing athlete, amazing humanitarian. We don't hear about him having extra weird kids that nobody knows about and running for offices that he's not qualified for. He's just, playing it cool, being quiet, and taking care of folks because that's a cool thing to do. This is our teaser story for today. If you think this is worthy of talking about, which I'm pretty sure you will, we'll chat it up on tomorrow. Average U.S. gasoline prices fall 32 cents. And this story, I believe, I can't see the date on it from where I'm looking at. I think it was from Friday or Saturday, so it's probably down a few more cents from there. Gas prices have gone down over the last 40 days. And that's just the fact about it. We're not talking so much about the gas prices being as high, but we're also not saying gas prices are falling. Most places aren't actually talking about this. They're using the fact that they don't have gas prices going up to talk about as a way to put in other bad news things in there and kind of gloss over this. This is not great, but it is good. It's better than it was before. Do you want to talk about gas prices falling? By the time we post this up there, it'll probably go up today because something weird will happen. We'll talk about this. Just basically engage with the story and with the feeds and like it, love it, hate it, share it. And as you engage in the story, you will get a chance to vote it up. We'll explain the engagement stuff in just a bit, but first, let's get an ad in for Zenni Optical. Go to thisisaconversationproject.com/Zenni, Zenni, and visit Zenni Optical. Zenni Optical offers up great glasses, which I'm not wearing today because lots of things. But Zenni Optical offers up great glasses for great prices. Some prices, literally frames starting as low as $6.95, and frames that are beautiful and designer and stylish, and lenses that are beautiful and designer and stylish and block the blue light and do transitions and are great as sunglasses, and you can send them all back if you don't want them. Zenni Optical is the best place I have found for glasses for many years. I've been ordering glasses from Zenni for probably about 10 years at this point, and I'm boring. I order the same frames. I've been upgrading the lenses so I get better lenses, but the same frames. They're very inexpensive and they're not totally ugly. The frames are not, or the lenses are not Coke bottle thick. They are nice and they're very progressive. And I got a pair of sunglasses as well because, you got to be like cool with the shades that are actually prescription wear. Check them out at thisistheconversationproject.com/Zenni. This is theconversationproject.com/Zenni. I'm sure I know they take your HSA. They'll take your insurance. They'll take what you need, and you'll get good glasses for less and be able to see right now. Many people have floundered and gone through because they don't have insurance and things like that to skimp on their eyewear. Don't skimp. Save a couple pennies. This is a couple cups of coffee, and get good glasses from Zenni Optical. Check them out today. Now, we want you to check out some websites of note. We don't have it changed there at the bottom of the thing, but we do have our YouTube channel now named The Conversation Project. So go to youtube.com/The Conversation Project, straight to our YouTube channel. Of course, this is conversationproject.com/YouTube. Takes you there, obviously, as well. Our main website, thisisconversationproject.com, has the home for basically everything you're looking for, including links where you can check out things for sponsorships, things for partnerships, things to keep things going in our transition. It's been a weird week. It's been a weird kind of time here in general. It's been a weird, I'm not sure we've done this for 6 full months, but a couple of months where we've been doing this, and we're glad that you're here, a part of this, but we do need some help and support, and you can check those things out to see what's going on. The main thing you do is check it out and see what's going on about the actual project, watching it, reading it, getting into it. If you're engaging with it, we'll figure out ways to get it monetized. You don't have to, so think about that way. It's just like watching your favorite show on TV. If you're not skipping commercials and you can count as one of the people who watches it for demographics, they can get a way to keep them going. Facebook.com/This is a Conversation Project and Twitter.com/TH_conversation are our sources for getting the stories to you. They are our feeds, and our sources for scoring the stories. They are our feeds. As you read the stories, we're posting them every 20 minutes. I don't know why I'm saying 20 minutes all of a sudden. Every 50 minutes or so. As you're reading and engaging the stories, we are tallying them up in the internets and take a tally at the end of the time. On Monday morning at 5 a.m., we pull in stories from Friday through 5 a.m. Monday. Tuesday through Friday, we pull it from the day prior, midnight to that 5 a.m. So on Monday, today, you're getting presented this on our extra channels on the J. Cleveland Payne channels. Hi, J. Cleveland Payne watchers. And you get to see a batch of stories. That's why I have so many stories. We pull from 30 of 90 or so stories. So we pull from top third. The rest of the week, we'll pull from top half, but the half is only 15 out of 30, and we'll have much shorter, less ramblier stuff. And with all the crazy moves going around, a lot lower confusion for the week, I'm sure. But follow the feeds, and you can make sure the stories that you think are the most important make their way into the headlines for us here, as we are, like we say, your news side piece. We provide for you some news stories that you probably didn't think you're going to get, but we give them to you anyway. And of course, we're on the TikTok. We're trying to be on the TikTok. We're trying our hardest to make TikTok work. Go to @TheConversationProject and see us on TikTok. Do very, very bad TikToks. That's what we do. Today, things to get into to wrap things up. Birthdays on the 25th, starting off with Iman, the 67-year-old supermodel, still looking glamorous. Of course, the widow of David Bowie is 67 years old today. We miss David Bowie, but we still have Iman to give us wisdom, oddly enough. Elena Douglas is 57 years old today, and Matt LeBlanc, Joey, 55 years old on today. Hire a Veteran Day today. Today is National Hire a Veteran Day. There is links inside of the newsletter and inside of the things that'll show you about Hire a Veteran today. As a veteran, and as the way this day may go and this week is go, I may be looking for a job. So you may be hiring me the way things are going, especially the way the money is for this thing here. But this is a day where there's a big national push to check out for veterans and see what they're doing. There are veterans who have been veterans for a long time from longer wars who are needing things to do. There are veterans who have, retired and are basically the right people you need to help lead your young staff, because they have that discipline and have all that learned knowledge out there that they just, they love to have something to do. They're not even looking for big money. They're looking for something meaningful to do. And there are veterans of recent times who are in need of a transition, need of a change, need of something very, very different. Take the time to look out, reach out to veterans organizations, reach out to the VA, reach out to people if you're looking to hire some folks, and see if there is a batch of veterans who are looking for work. Or if you know someone's a veteran that you think you want to poach from someplace else because you see their work ethic, don't just poach the regular old political operative or the same old guys going over back and forth. Find somebody you see doing great things. One last thing, and because this thing was going to be so long, we picked this really short thing that really is kind of Study found that when kissing, most people lean to the right. I have no idea what that's about. I've actually heard this over and over again over my lifetime. Like I said, we knew we'd be running late on time today, so we picked something that was quick. This is quick. It is there. Take it or leave it. But don't leave us too bad in the lurch. Today is still the 25th, not 23rd of July. It is still Monday, at least at this moment while I'm talking. Things you might have heard is now wrapping up for the day. We have 5 full days expected, or 4 full days expected. This is the first of 5 full days. Expected to give you this broadcast throughout the week, sometimes from different locations. We'll probably do something a little like I did when I took my business trip, where I did it from the hotel room, and we just put up the camera and had things going to get things flowing, because yeah, that's a green screen. But a lot of the bits and pieces, they're going to be all over the place. The lights aren't going to be moved, things like that. Let us know how we're doing for this transition, and trust me, as we get the new place set up, you're going to love the things we're going to do with it. Let me know how we're doing for the news stories and things we can do to help you out in that one. Let us know how the newsletter is going. I made a little goof this morning, and if I actually pre-wrote it and fired it before the video went out. So if you got the newsletter and thought you were watching the video, or surprise, you're watching it live. But so let us know how the newsletter is going. I think it looks good. I think it's functional. I think it's a nice new way to doing things. As a person who's always disappointed in how things play out in my stuff, I think this actually works out as functional. But I need your advice to see if I need to beef it up or tone it down a bit. Of course, stay hydrated. Stay limber, stay on task. We need you here for some of the great things that we need you here for. And like I said, this has been a very difficult long week. It was actually a very difficult long weekend for a lot of things happening. Some things were in the natural course of order. Some things are the frustrations of life, and some things are just how things work out. Some people say that God has a plan and that things happen for a reason. And this was a weekend where I lost a good friend, and the reasons are still sort of out there being processed. We're still trying to gather the reasons. So, from a good friend, my best friend from high school, my neighbor back in Germany, Jason, we love you. We have always loved you. We will still love you, and we can't wait to see you at that big reunion later on in all our lives. We're, of course, praying for your mother and your sister that they are transitioned, and for your fiance. We know they're having a harder time than we are, although we are having some hard times. Thank you so much for everything you guys do out there in the video land. Thank you for looking out for my man, and prayers for my man Josh out there, serving his country, serving us out there. And thank you for all the folks who are asking about Christina with a K, because she's doing pretty well herself. I'm out. We're going to have a long day. We're going to have a long week, but we're going to keep doing this stuff because this is what keeps me sane. And so as long as a few people keep popping up, I thank you for it. Thank you so much. Check out the stories already posting right now. Keep us engaged, and you can let us know what's good, what's not so good, what's up, what's down, as we talk about, at least in this thing, things you might not have heard.